What's going on? Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday. We have like 3 to 5 things to do today. Don't know exactly how it will go, but we're obviously going to watch this first. And then we are going to watch a little bit of a tour of the Taj Mahal just to finish up with Barrington Irving. And then we are going to watch another short clip, maybe 6 minutes, I think, on what prohibition was. If you haven't learned about that in Mr. Bim's class, you will. So either this is going to be review. I don't think you're there quite yet. So this might be just a little bit of you'll have a little bit of background knowledge when you get to Mr. Bim's class. But we're going to read an article starting today. It's called Three Cheers for the Nanny State. And we're going to start off talking about what a nanny state is. All right. And so basically, I'm going to read exactly what a nanny state is, but you'll hear it twice here. A nanny state is when the government wants the citizens dependent on it, I guess. And I kind of see that right now. Like my wife opened the electricity bill, right, for last month, and we knew it was going to go up. And it was like, I think it was $400 more than it was the month before. It's kind of crazy. And I knew like winter's coming and we use a little bit of our electricity for heat, but that was kind of crazy. And then I think the state of Maine recently said, hey, we're going to send checks out to people who need help, $450. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's almost exactly what we need. But the problem is you get dependent on the state. Now it's your own money coming back to you, but at least for me, but for some people who, aren't working, they are being dependent on the state for support. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about here, this nanny state. So let me bring this up. And the first thing we're going to read is the background, and it's going to explain the nanny state. The term nanny state is a negative nickname for a welfare state, which is a model of government that takes direct responsibility for the protection and well-being of its citizens. Welfare states offer basic social support, such as free health care, low-income housing, but also creates laws and policies that attempt to control or influence how people behave. All right, so with that said, there's a little bit more to it than just the government providing assistance. It's also the government trying to control more. And we're going to read this article about how New York City at one time tried to ban large soda cups. So then that creates a whole new question is like, well, if an adult wants tons of soda, shouldn't they be able to do that? And then that will bring up another point. This is where the prohibition comes in. Well, alcohol. We know alcohol is bad for you. That's objectively true. Alcohol is bad for you. So wouldn't it be just like to protect everybody, just make alcohol illegal? Well, we tried that in this country. Didn't work out so well. There's also within your lifetime, I think, weed, marijuana, pot, all those names, depending on how old you are. At one time, that was illegal. Way more crime. Like if it's illegal, then the police have to enforce the laws. But if it becomes legal, then there aren't as many laws surrounding it. So fewer people get in trouble. Yeah, this unit is all about like making choices and how sometimes those choices can affect you positively or negatively. All right, let's get into the article here. And of course, anytime anybody has anything they would like to add, please do. This will be fairly short. This is about 20 paragraphs. I say we read about 5 to get started today because we have other things to watch. All right. Why has there been so much fuss about New York City's attempt to impose a soda ban? Or more precisely, a ban on large size sugary drinks? After all, people can still get as much soda as they want. This isn't prohibition. and you will learn way more about that in a little while. It's just that getting it would take slightly more effort. So why is it such a big deal? Obviously, it's not about soda. It's because such a ban suggests that sometimes we need to be stopped from doing foolish stuff. And this has become, this has become in contemporary American politics highly controversial, no matter how trivial the particular issue. So if something is trivial, it's not very important. Large cups of soda as symbols of human dignity? Really? All right, so the larger picture there would be the citizen saying, hey, I'm an adult. If I want to get a large soda, that's my choice. I know it's not as healthy as water, but I don't care. You know, the same could be said for McDonald's. What if the government comes in and says, hey, wait a second, you can only serve, double cheeseburgers, not triple cheeseburgers. You can only serve large fries, not super large fries, or something like that. McDonald's has changed their policy before. I don't know, 20 years ago, they used to always say, hey, do you want to supersize this? And now they've stopped doing that. It wasn't a law. It was just something that McDonald's decided for themselves. But obviously, McDonald's is not healthy. It's cheap. But nobody can say, oh yeah, McDonald's hamburger, that's healthy. Yeah, you really can't. Even in moderation, even if you're eating one meal a day, they're of McDonald's or once a week. There's just like tons of salt, tons of fat. It's just not the healthiest meal. You can't argue that. So where does the government step in? There has to be a point where they're like, okay, you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. We can't be this nanny state where we're just taking everything away from you. Sometimes you can, splurge. Sometimes you can treat yourself. Some people say that, right? All right, just a couple more paragraphs here, and then we will be done. Americans, even those who generally support government intervention in our daily lives, have a reflex response to being told what to do, and it's not a positive one. It's this common desire to be left alone that prompted the Mississippi legislature earlier this month to pass a ban on bans, a law that forbids municipalities to place local restrictions on food or drink. We have a vision of ourselves as free, rational beings who are totally capable of making all the decisions we need in order to create a good life. Give us complete liberty, and barring natural disasters, we'll end up where we want to be. It's a nice vision, one that makes us feel proud of ourselves, but it's false. And that is probably a good place to stop. Now, as I highlighted everything I didn't want to highlight, thanks. Probably haven't read quite enough for you to do much of the Google form. Tomorrow we'll talk about author's tone, which is a difficult one. You might be able to do a couple questions on the Google form, but I think most of it will be done tomorrow. There is the study guide that you could complete. There is the quiz from last week, the DICT quiz that you could complete if you haven't yet. And of course, the essay. I'm looking through the essays. Those are going in pretty soon. And there are a lot of people that still haven't completed those essays. It's going to be difficult, I think, to pass the second quarter without doing an essay. All right. Adios, amigos.